Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner.
Welcome back. This is not going to be a happy video. Give you some warning up front. This is a big deal. This is a turning point in the history of the United States. This is a segment from Dan Bongino, and we're going to play some of it, and I'm going to commentate along the way how much trouble we're really and truly in. The fact of the matter is, I'm not sure if this is reversible, truth be told. It's when you go after your political opponents with the law and the police and all the authority, that's what they do in banana republics. That's what they do in third world countries. Places like the Soviet Union and all through Central and South America and all through Asia over the centuries. They put their political opponents in jail. Just a handful of renegade progressives on the island of Manhattan, and I live in upstate New York. I'm ashamed to live in this state. Can turn this country on a dime. Let's hear what Dan has to say.
So I've warned you repeatedly on this show over and over that sadly the constitutional republic is dying a very slow and painful death, and the police state is taking its place. Power always seeks a vacuum, right? And we're in one right now. In case you missed the news today, President Trump reported via his Truth Social account that it's likely he'll be arrested this week. Now, there's some dispute over if that's going to happen. Appears they may have walked back some of those claims a little bit about an arrest this week, but there's simply no doubt that the Manhattan DA is looking at a potential indictment and arrest of President Trump. That could very well go down either this week or sometime in the future. Now, no show has sounded the alarm as loudly as this show about the pending destruction of the rule of law and the entrance of the police state right in front of your very eyes, knocking at our door right now.
Now, the funny part is, go on Twitter and the mainstream media, they're sounding the alarm. Trump's the criminal. He's going to call for protest and violence. And they're all applauding. This is great. Trump's going to finally get his. You remember the scene in Star Wars where Queen Amidala sits there and says, "This is how democracy dies," with thunderous applause? This is one of those situations. Do I think it would be easier if Trump wasn't such a polarizing character that people would finally wake up? Yeah. But Trump derangement syndrome has taken a good 35% of this country over. And I don't think there's a cure. Remember something. If they can go after Donald Trump, you're next. Make no mistake about it. Let's listen on.
If there was ever an example of this, it's right here, this abomination right now going on with Donald J. Trump. I want you to keep in mind the allegations here. The allegations that Donald Trump had some payoff payment to hide some sexual episode he wanted to hide from his family. I don't know if that's true or not. President Trump denies it. The obviously people prosecuting it suggest this is true and they're willing to take it to court. Ladies and gentlemen, I need you to think about something and keep this in your heads right now. Donald Trump is being accused of something he denies that didn't even involve his time in the presidency, that Bill Clinton admitted to doing in the White House while he was the president of the United States. Is Bill Clinton in handcuffs? Are there threats to arrest Bill Clinton? Bill Clinton's celebrated amongst the liberal tyrants that run amongst us right now. They are loving every...
I'm not even sure if a payoff to keep somebody quiet and having them signing a non-disclosure agreement is even unlawful. My understanding from some research is even the district attorney's office in Manhattan, many have quit, the prosecutors, because of this, and it's split down the middle. One side thinks this is absolutely ridiculous and terribly dangerous, or the other side, all they want to do is destroy Donald Trump. Ask yourself something. Why would they go after somebody so hard? Because they're afraid of him. And they say, well, we're just saving this country from this monster. No, the fact of the matter is, if he wins, he's coming after them. Legally, public-wise, socially, they see that they're ideas and their ideology is going to go up in flames. And they're going to be exposed to what they really are. They're scared to death of him. The deep state, especially in Washington, and the powerful elites are scared to death of him. Let's listen on.
Every second of this, ladies and gentlemen, they worship the police state. They always have. From the Mar-a-Lago raid to locking up their political enemies, they have salivated over this for years. What's a police state? For those of you who may just be a little bit in doubt and say, I'm not sure. That may be a little hyperbolic. Are we really living in a police state? Well, what is it? Ask yourself. The police state is when you investigate a person in search of a crime. Now, what does a constitutional republic look like? And a law-abiding society? You have rights. You have big R God-given rights. What happens is someone alleges a crime. Hey, I was mugged. What do the police do, or the FBI, if it's a bank robbery, whatever it may be? They say, we're going to research this. We're going to go do an investigation, and we're going to try to find the person. Ladies and gentlemen, in this case, the person was already found. The crime was found later. Remember Beria, the infamous Soviet who said, you show me the man, I'll find you the crime? Well, I'm showing you the man.
This is the former Soviet Union KGB agent that said that many years ago. You find the man, you look for a crime. It goes against every statute and fabric of this republic and our Constitution. It's not about Donald Trump and a porn star. They have nothing else. It's a terrible reach. And I'm sure he'll win it in the end. Given it's going to be a kangaroo court in Manhattan, he'll appeal it, he'll win, because there's no crime. But the damage will be done. I'm not sure if this is going to damage Trump or this is going to help him. We'll have to see which way the wind blows. But this is their last gasp attempt to get him. The Mar-a-Lago raid went against, backfired badly on the Democrats. You have to remember something. You don't need a majority of Democrats to run the party at the state and federal level. You only need 20-25%. And these renegade progressives don't care if this country is torn to pieces. If Donald Trump is so bad, then beat him in the general election in 2024. But they know he has a good chance to win. A banana republic is now forming.
His name is Donald J. Trump. And they're going to find a crime no matter what. Folks, this is one of the darkest days in our history, if this turns out to be true. And the political opponent of a man in the White House, Joseph Biden, whose son is on tape committing sexual acts that you're accusing Donald Trump of. The son of the White House, the president sitting in the White House right now with his butt parked in the Oval Office, is on tape in business deals reported multiple times with multiple members of the Biden family, according to the business partner, including Joe Biden himself, is on tape engaging in some of these same activities you've accused Donald Trump of when he wasn't even the president. And nobody on the left cares. Because again, you show me the man when you're a communist, I'll show you the crime.
That's the old Soviet Union KGB tactic. It's undeniable. And those of you that hate Trump's guts or anti-Trump, or even some Republicans that are anti-Trump, are celebrating and salivating. Think about what you're doing. You're burning down the building that you're standing in. You're burning down the building. You think there's an infestation in your house. So you set it on fire to get rid of it, and you stand in the middle of the building as it burns. And when it collapses, you're going to be in it too. Some things are irreversible and will take generations to correct. If this happens, if Trump is arrested on bogus BS charges, this might be the beginning of the end of the American experiment.
And I'm showing you the man, Donald Trump. Folks, a couple more thoughts on this. One of the darkest days in our history. The constitutional republic. We've managed to survive as long as we have the world's most prosperous democracy ever in the history of the cosmos. because of faith in institutions. Don't assume that's a given. All of this stuff that we do, whether it's our belief in our Constitution and the rule of law and God-given rights enshrined by that piece of paper, that is just a piece of paper. Our Constitution only works because people believe in it. Ladies and gentlemen, faith in our institutions are collapsing. You don't have to believe me, just look at the polls. Revered institutions like our military, the FBI, revered institutions. In the past, 50, 60 years ago, where people used to tune in to Walter Cronkite for the media thinking they were getting the truth.
I remember back in the Watergate days, I'm old enough, how the faith in the institutions, the CIA, the FBI, the presidency, and big institutions, legal institutions, judicial branch, took a huge hit from being revered by the American people. And it took over a decade to come back. This, folks, is 10 times worse than Watergate. 50, 100 times worse. It took us over a decade to recover from Watergate. How long will it take to recover from this, if at all?
Now they know the media is part of the apparatus and institutions' faith in them are absolutely collapsing. Do you really believe an obviously political attack on the opponent of a sitting president right now for a completely ridiculous charge no serious person not in need of mental health take seriously? You really believe this is going to reestablish faith in institutions and lead to a more prosperous United States? Folks, the country's bifurcating. The country's bifurcating into a tyrannical police state left that wants third world type law enforcement right here used to conquer your political enemies, and then us, the sane people, the rest of us.
Now, how many times have we seen this around the world? Dozens and dozens, hundreds and hundreds of times over the years, throughout history. Putting your major political opponent in jail is something that is just so far removed from the American experience. These people aren't thinking about the repercussions. They don't care. They want control. I live in a deep blue state, but I live upstate New York, very far away from New York City. But nonetheless, this state is deep blue. I don't know. I'm 66 years old. It's going to be tough to pick up and move to another state, but I have to if I will. I think it's getting that bad. A banana republic. Let's listen on.
Folks, you stand no chance in these blue states anymore. If this New York City prosecutor is allowed to do this, and you are not a Democrat, you need to get out as soon as you can. You run the very real risk of becoming a target of these deep staters who will stop at nothing to make sure when you become a threat to them, that they make sure they take care of it using our law enforcement system. One final thought on this, folks. Former president called for protests. That is your constitutional God-given right. But I am begging you as a friend to you, you know I've never steered you wrong. Please look me in the eye here. This is the most important thing I'm going to say right here, and I'll leave it at this. Please protest. But please, God, and I'm not using his name in vain, please do it peacefully. These people on the left would like nothing more than any excuse to use against you to throw you in prison too.
And that, folks, is the long and the short of it. Those of you that are celebrating this, think about what you're doing. Just like I mentioned in the Star Wars trilogy, this is how democracy ends, in thunderous applause. Those of you that are taking joy in this, in seeing that this will free America, you're on the wrong side. You're on the wrong side of history. This has nothing to do with Donald Trump. This is about power and control over your political adversaries. Plain and simple. If they can go after a former president, anybody can be destroyed and put in jail. They're putting people in jail for protesting at abortion clinics. Look at the people that are sitting in jail from January 6th. 2 years. No bail, no trial. It's out of control. These deep, deep red cities and their prosecutorial powers are going to destroy this republic. We're going to have to see what happens. I'm not optimistic. I'm optimistic that President Trump will get out of the legal problems, but the damage is going to be done. I believe will be irreversible, and there's no coming back from it. It's sad to see that in my lifetime, the greatest republic that ever existed on the face of the earth will be destroyed in my lifetime. It's sad. It chokes me up. I go from being furious to being saddened and depressed. I go back and forth. It's a terrible situation. They don't know what they're doing, but they don't care. Until the next time, goodbye and good luck.